Hello and welcome to the White Deer Filmmaking Podcast, produced for filmmakers by filmmakers, covering useful industry topics in association with the White Deer International Film Festival. I'm Mark.
I'm Adam.
Who is usually on the wire.
That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, but now it's like you do something in one take and it's then in for the rest.
Yep.
Now.
But I've been promoted.
You're now allowed in front
on
of the
camera.
Yeah.
Actually, to be heard on the mic.
Exactly. See, Al, our other podcast bringer,
and the person who's going to be featuring in
exactly,
this episode
is not even here today. How dare he? Anyway.
We could say that he's on the wire.
He's not even on the wire.
I'm not sure what that means.
No, it doesn't mean a thing. It just, well, I think that the origins behind it for listeners is
that
anyone
there's
wires, because anyone that's sort of not in front of the camera is looking at the tech side of things where there are wires. And that is literally it. There isn't anything beyond that, is there?
No, it's all wires.
It's all wires.
But I mean, there is an actual term for the job of what the behind the scenes people do, as we should know, being filmmakers. But we won't get bogged down in that.
No, we're making our own way. We're creative, right?
Yep, creating new job titles.
Hello, I'm Mark, and I'm
also on the wire.
On the wire.
Yeah. But anyway, this episode,
bringing it back to the most important thing, we are speaking to Javier Dampierre, whose film 50 won the Best Thriller award at our what season was it?
September, October season.
That's the one, yeah, September and October. Which is, I mean, this film, all three of us loved it, and I think one of the reasons why it is so interesting to me, and especially Al, who really championed this film and who unfortunately can't be here today to speak about it, but hey ho, he is in the interview, so you'll hear him love it. But what we loved about this film was that it, in essence, was very simple in terms of the set, but was very complex in terms of the characterization and the
dialogue.
Dialogue, yeah, very well written. The intensity of it, where it was allowed to be intense and complex because of the simplicity of the setting and everything.
And an 18-minute film.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Well, in just one location, wasn't it?
All one location,
which is a pretty good feat
to
achieve something that gripping.
Exactly. I think they do mention, if I'm right, we do touch on them initially wanting to use more, but then they decided to just stick with one because it helps everything. It keeps it all contained nicely, and you'll hear from the director, Javier, some great input about how the actors helped make it more interesting with that, and how they worked through that, and how they got the most out of that one location. And
what an amazing location as well.
Exactly. Well, riddled with challenges, I imagine, because of the it's
reflections
or reflection windows. It's like a skyscraper apartment room, which is covered by windows, so any kind of reflection would have been a nightmare to cover. But yeah, you'll hear more about this in the interview itself, but it's a really good one. Javier's a lovely guy, and hope you enjoy. Don't forget, stay tuned until the end of the podcast, where we'll give you this week's code, this 10% code, which you can use on any submission that you make. One use only, but hey ho, there we go. Enjoy. So, thank you, Javier. Thank you very much for joining us. I suppose we always like to start with, how did you get started on the project 50?
This project, actually, I didn't write it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's my first fiction film that I don't write it, and it was a great experience. It was a writer from New York who contacted the main actor of the film, because we worked together in a couple of films, and he saw our material, our films, and he wanted me to direct it and him to be the main character. And when he sent me the screenplay, my friend, a short film, I was like, oh my god, not a short film, not again. because like short films are hard. You don't get the money back, and it's expense and it's an investment. And I was reading is like, whatever, I'm gonna read, but I'm gonna say no, because I don't want to do a short film now again, and that is not even mine. But then when I read it, I just saw like, oh my gosh, son of a bitch, this is so good. This is, I can't stop. I have to do that. I have to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the origin. And then I was working with a writer he's called Vin Conso in New York, and we were working together, like doing some adjustments, like to make it a little bit more mine in a way. And he was super good, because he was this kind of writer that when you ask him for a change, he's not only changing what you want, but like giving you something even better than you expected. So it was really good. It was really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you say that this is, did you say it was the actor that you've worked with before, or the writer that you've worked with before?
Sorry, say it again?
Was it, did you say that you've worked with them before on the projects?
With Sasha Goldberg.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And have you found that to be something which you do often, whereby you keep in contact and then you often work with people that you've worked with before?
Yeah, I try. Sometimes the story demands the actors, like different look or different whatever. So sometimes it's not easy to keep on with the actors. But of course, I try to have my team. And well, the things that I did, I'm from Spain. I think you might know that already. So I have a lot of people, like really good crew that I would like to work in Spain. And I have my crew here in LA as well. So because I cannot fly people here, it doesn't make sense, right? And especially in this city where there's so much talent. Yeah. I actually flew my DP because he was living in LA, but he left. It's called Alvaro Martin Blanco. He was living in LA and he left to Spain. And we always wanted to do something together, like a group of friends with a great talent that we are here in LA, from like mostly from Spain, but from other countries as well. And I wanted so bad to put all us together to work on something. So I flew him here. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, Javier, one of the things I really loved about 50 was where you kind of have a character-driven story. But I think as a director, I can imagine it must have been quite challenging, because you are set in one room for the entire story. So as a director, from your point of view, how do you kind of take a story that is set in one room and captivate your audience in in the way you captivated us, because it was great from our point of view, Yeah, I mean...
It was a challenge. It was, and I was scared at the beginning because it's only one room, and you have to make it visually attractive and not boring visually, and it was a big challenge. But I counted with a really good crew, like the production designer Marcos Cato. He, apart from a really really good friend, he's so good. And the apartment was like empty. It was like we emptied up. It was the only thing that was good for the apartment was the window, which has an amazing production value, of course, with all these views of LA and everything. Yeah. But yeah, it was a challenge, and I think the key on to make it not boring visually was actually the blocking, because the original script, I mean, there was not necessarily movement, so we did a nice job on blocking and moving the actors around, and in some kind of movement that makes sense to the story as well, like how they approach to each other and they separate again and then go to the other part of the room. So we wanted to explore all the room in different kind of views. There's some visual things that are like attractive, like the elephants, for example, that makes like something like interestingly, and some symbols as well. And of course, these amazing views that helps a lot. And the camera movement, we were moving the camera around a lot. And I don't know, it was a challenge. It was and it was my biggest fear. But it turned out to be not boring at all. So I'm super happy the work we did together.
Yeah, excellent. Did you find that by opening up the room, by using it to its biggest capacity, did you find that it allowed for more freedom for the actors to bring things to their parts? Were they able to express more?
You mean, what do you mean, the opening room?
Yeah, so by using more of the room to capture more variety in shots. Do you think that allowed the actors to be more expressive with their performance, or have more options with their performance?
Yeah, it definitely helps. We were like rehearsing. Actually, it was great. We could rehearse like 4 times, which is, maybe we can talk about that later. This actress, she's a kind of a good actress and big actress here in LA. And she was so involved in the project that we could rehearse 4 times, which is like a privilege, to be honest. Yeah. And we were like rehearsing in my apartment or her apartment, and we kind of we knew already like how was going to the production design, so we kind of set everything like similar to the apartment, so we can rehearse the movement and the blocking, which was, as I told you, like the biggest challenge for me. But then when you're in the place and with all this production design and all this setup, that it helps a lot, of course, the characters. And actually, you know, even in the setting, we had like a clear idea of the blocking. But once we were there in the setting, things kind of changed a little bit. And actually the actors were proposing me changes. Like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense here. Why am I standing up right now? There should be a motivation. So we're like finding things in the same shooting, which I love it, because you have an idea. I always go with a storyboard and with my ideas very clear and what I want, but then things happen there. And as a director, I think the best thing to do is to have your ears really opened and listen to people, because there's a lot of talent in this room and a lot of, you know, so yeah, I think it's very important to listen to the actors. That's first off, because they kind of suggest you things that you never thought. It's very important to hear to your DP, because he's proposing you frames or something that you never thought as well. Yep. So, and the production designer as well. I mean, it's a teamwork, and I love it. And I love it in the shooting, that when people actually challenge my ideas by better ideas. So I think the good job of a director is to take advantage of all this talent in the room and not trying to impose your vision. You know, you have a vision, of course, but you have to be so open to other people's suggestions. Yeah. I mean, I'm stepping out of the question, I guess.
I mean, did you find, what were the sort of main challenges you found filming this film? What were the main difficulties?
The main difficulties, I guess for me, and that would be kind of spoiling, but the actual shooting, I don't know if you can have that in the interview or not.
Yeah.
That was a technical challenge, because, you know, and I never did that before, so I was a little bit scared, like, okay, this is gonna be really believable, it's gonna be ridiculous. How can I do it to make it believable? Is the actor gonna do that performing well? It's not easy to do that in a believable way, and that is not like laughable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, I think for me that was the biggest challenge, actually, or the biggest like fear that I had. And of course, and maybe if that's too much spoiling, you can cut up the first part of the answer.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. And as well, it was, as you saw, the film is all about acting. Yeah. And I, you know, it's like it all depends on the actors. And, you know, of course, I knew there were really good actors because I saw what they did, and I worked with Sasha before. But you never know what can happen. You know, it's a difficult text. It's a difficult screenplay to play. And so I was a little bit afraid that I was not gonna be like a good actor's director to make it happen. And because there's a lot of moments in the film that you have to be very, very precise and to make it look believable. But yeah, I think the challenge was like mainly directing the actors actually, and taking the best out of them.
Because I think one of the standout things for me was the kind of the performance by the sort of the main villain of the film, that it wasn't comical. I was completely convinced, but you're right saying it's a very fine line between getting a really sort of unnerving performance that really has you uneasy, and a performance that is like overdone and looks it's like a bit comical. I mean, how did you kind of make sure that he steered into the right direction? You know, what sort of direction did you give him for that?
I think it was like going line by line, actually. Rehearsing a lot. As I told you, it was great that we could rehearse a lot, and it was like polishing line by line. And when he was a little bit overacting, or like I was putting him down, and it was. And actually, the funny thing is that the original screenplay, was a little bit of a comedy.
Right. Okay.
In a way, it was like kind of dark comedy, not really comedy, but it has like, and I wanted to go away from that, even though I love comedy and I love to direct comedy and I did comedies before. I wanted to go away from that because I thought it could be more like a serious matter and a real psychological thriller.
Yeah.
So actually, there's like a couple of gags or like of jokes that are in the film a little bit, like when he's saying like I'm the one with the gun. That was a cliche, It was like small little things that I kept there because I think that it helped. But in general, I wanted to go out from the tone. It's more the tone than the text, actually.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it more serious and more kind of more intense.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. How did you? Obviously, you knew the actors Sasha before. How did you get to the actor? Was it an audition process?
Actually, no, I didn't do an audition because I wanted like a really, really good actress. So funny enough, I went to IMDb Pro and started watching profiles.
Yeah.
And I wanted the look. I knew the look I wanted. So I saw Dey Young, and I contacted her manager, like thinking that no way. I mean, she's not gonna let her actress to do a short film, right?
Yeah.
But actually, she answered me. She loved the screenplay, and then I met her, and she was super nice and willing to do it. And we did it through the union, like the SAG.
Yeah.
Because she's a SAG actress, so. And actually, at the beginning, I was like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be a mess." But I appreciate actually. I'm thankful that we did it this way because it was like a master for me, a master school for production.
Yeah.
Because when you do it SAG, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of things that you have to do.
Yeah.
So and we started rehearsing, and she was so involved. I was really surprised because I thought like, okay, I really don't know her. She's gonna give me, okay, let's do one rehearsal and that's it. I have a life, whatever. But no, she was so involved, like 4 rehearsals, a lot of time. She was super nice. Now she's a very good friend of mine now.
Excellent.
And I was really, I think it was great. It was great because when you have a really, really good actress like her, she's very demanding. Like these kind of actors are very demanding. They want to know everything. They ask a lot of questions. They want to know like they need to justify every single movement. And there was as well for me a master on direction because sometimes okay, you have to stand up, and why? And I had to kind of create, sometimes I wanted to say because I need it for the camera, but that was not enough for her, of course. So it was really, really, really nice, and I learned a lot from them actually.
Excellent. Yeah. And how did you find the chemistry between your two actors? Was it an instant chemistry, or was it something that had to be worked on in rehearsals, or was it something which may have been a challenge, or was it easy?
I had an intuition that it was going to be chemistry between them. When we got together, I could see the chemistry like visually, but the chemistry was not there yet, of course, because they didn't know each other. And actually, it was funny because I remember that Sasha was very delicate with her. Like when we were rehearsing, he didn't dare like to grab her like strongly or whatever. And I talked to Sasha after the second rehearsal and I said, listen, you need to break some boundaries here because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you're treating her with so much respect, I mean, if you want us to go out to have some drinks, whatever, so you get more confidence with her because it looks like, and of course for Sasha, he's not in the same like kind of position in the industry than they. he's more starting, and for him it was like, I'm going to work with this big actress. I'm a little bit scared, and he was like too much respectful with her, So I talked to him, listen, this is not gonna work. You have to grab her strongly. You have to, you have to shake her. Because otherwise the camera won't read.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, but but at the end, I think it was more like actually the shooting itself, when he started to be more, like his character, because there are some moments in the screenplay that he's like grabbing her and, sitting her in the chair, and I wanted him to be a little bit more violent. And he had a hard time with that, But yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, they got together along very well, and this chemistry happened between them, actually. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
Excellent. Yeah. Just briefly, what projects have you worked on previously which may have given you the knowledge, I suppose, to develop this particular film? Was there something which you, maybe the way that you worked with Sacha, was that something which was a new situation for you on set, or had you worked on a project which maybe gave you the intuition to do that with Sacha?
Yeah, I think for me I never shot a psychological thriller. I have a feature film that is a psychological thriller, and then I'm trying to build the finance and everything. Okay. And when this screenplay came to me, it was a great opportunity for me to try a new genre that I never tried before. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it was important for me. So I saw the opportunity when I read it. Like, okay, this is perfect to practice and to get some knowledge on how to do a psychological thriller. So it was like a great school for me. And before that, I mean, I did short films, some awarded some short films, but I did a comedy, but I never had the chance actually to rehearse so much with actors before a short film, to be honest. I did a short film like some years ago called Crocodile Nile, which is a comedy. And I did it with a big actor in Spain, a really, really good one, which is a good friend of mine now. And, it was like, we couldn't rehearse, actually. His schedule was crazy, so it was like going to the shooting without rehearsal, and that's really scary. It's really, really scary because, he's a good actor, but, you need to rehearse. And in this time, I think I went to the shooting with a lot of confidence because I saw the rehearsals and I knew it was going to work. So yeah, it was more like it was easygoing shooting. I was relaxed. I was not like with the fear that oh my God, this is not gonna work. I knew it was going to work. I mean, if we work our asses like really, Yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, my English is super bad. I know sometimes I hear myself and I'm like, what the hell am I saying?
Absolutely fine.
No, it's no, don't worry about that at all. You're coming across very, very well. Wanted to briefly touch on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That you were the director and acted as the producer mostly. Mm-hmm. So, did you find that there were any difficulties when visually seeing the film and what you wanted to get, and thinking, this is mainly in pre-production, thinking, I would love to do that, but maybe the budget isn't there, or maybe I can't schedule that in properly? And was there a clash between what you wanted to get visually and what you thought, maybe that's not going to be possible?
Well, actually, no. I think everything that I had in mind, we accomplished it.
Brilliant. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not, you never get the 100%, of course. There's some things that happen in the shooting that you need to hurry up. And actually, it was kind of crazy, the last shot of the film that I'm not gonna spoil, but the thing is that it was already like 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. So it was like the sun was rising almost.
Yes.
And we were like, oh my God, hurry up, that's the and we couldn't do it anyway. So actually it was like almost, and this shot was like shooting against the window, so we could see the window perfectly and the skyline and everything. And it was such a stress because oh my God, we have to do it, we have like 5 minutes, and everybody's like so nervous and come on, hurry up. So actually we could only do one take of that mess that already which shot it is, but it was a mess. and actually you could see the sun, so I had to fix that in post-production. I had to clean the sky and make it more dark and everything. And it was insane. And apart from that, the screenplay, I had to make some changes to make it possible, because there was some things in the screenplay, especially the last moment, the last bite of the film, that it was like difficult to do, really, really difficult. It involved like exteriors and someone jumping out of a window and things like things like they were like, we have to change that. I told Vin, we have to change that because that's not. I mean, I don't have the budget to do something like that. So but I'm glad actually, because the changes, I think they helped the film.
If you had the budget to do it, Javier, would you make 50 into a feature film?
I am actually developing not a feature only, but a TV series.
Oh wow!
That is like more ambitious.
Yeah.
And so I'm working with Vin on that, and I'm planning to shop it around very soon whenever we have the Bible ready.
Yep.
And and it's really I'm really excited, because I mean, it's very, as you know, it's very hard to sell a project.
Yep.
Like a TV series or a film, especially in this jungle called Los Angeles, which is insane. But we have a proof of concept that is very valuable, and I think because of that, we could step up a little bit from the people who doesn't have something like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited, and I'm gonna do my best to try to sell it and produce it, and I'm trying like you guys trying things.
Absolutely.
Well, wish you the best of luck. Are there any other, you mentioned that you are working on some other projects coming forward. Is there something which you're working on immediately, like right now, which is coming out soon, or that you've got working on right now?
Right now I'm working on, but it's not my personal project. I'm working on as an editor in a TV series documentary for ESPN, produced by LeBron. It's produced by LeBron James and Uninterrupted. It's in a company called Somatic TV, and I mean that's not my personal project, of course. But I'm really excited because it looks like really good. It's about basketball. And apart from that, I just signed a contract for a feature film, a screenplay that I wrote. It looks like it's gonna happen. It's a co-production between Spain, Dominican Republic, and Argentina. I can't direct that one because it's gonna go through the Dominican law, and the director should be Dominican to make it happen. I had a hard time to sell it because it's your creature, it's your baby. But I was like, okay, I have other babies, whatever. I sold it. And I'm really excited because it's a screenplay that I'm really proud of. And then I have this psychological thriller that it might happen next year. There's a producer in Spain trying to build the fundings to get the fundings. So we might shoot it next year. So fingers crossed and see if it happens. Because in this world, until you don't say action, maybe the film is not happening. You never know.
For sure.
Even if it's green lighted, like you never know what can happen.
It's just very quickly. So obviously Los Angeles is a very particular animal, if you like. It's very much a massive part of the industry. But is there much difference in for example, the American way of making films or to the Spanish way of making films? Is there a difference there?
I don't think actually. I think it's very similar. I mean, the language changed, of course, and might be, I don't know. In Spain, we might have a little bit more fun in the shooting in a way, but that goes with the character of the Spaniard, I guess. But I think it's pretty much the same. It's similar. I mean, there's here more maybe paperwork to do. To shoot here in LA is kind of crazy because you need to get permits for everything. Even if you shoot in your own apartment, you have to get a permit. And it costs like $1,000, which is insane.
That is insane.
Everything is much more expensive. That's the difference is the price and how much you have to pay. And even like LA office makes you to tell, even if you're shooting in the apartment, which we did in downtown, you have to do a survey to all the restaurants and the bars around the block.
Wow.
To let them know that you're shooting a film, even though it's interior and they won't see it.
No, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And so you have to do a lot of paperwork and send back to them, and it's kind of intense, yeah. But apart from that, the shooting itself, I think, is the same. There's like a universal way of doing things in films, and I'm sure if I go to UK and I shoot with a crew there, it's gonna be pretty similar. Everybody knows their task and they're very determined, and that's very universal.
I think it's one of the good things about the industry is that, for example, as everyone knows what the director's supposed to do and the DP and their roles are quite quite known by everybody, and it's probably makes things a lot more straightforward. So there's a hierarchy to work with, so there's that common language which is quite transferable worldwide, which is great, which I think is one of the reasons why you can do so much with people all across the world, which what makes it a really good team-based industry.
Absolutely.
So. Well, thank you very much. It's just a couple more questions, if you don't mind. I think
totally.
One of the things is, for me, I really want to ask you, what is the ultimate goal for you? Is there something that you would like to achieve in maybe 5 years' time, or even further, something that you want to say you did that, and it could just be to make sure that projects that are coming forwards for you, that you do them really well, but is there something like an ultimate dream for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like speaking out, like speaking loud your dreams is kind of, like you put yourself in a commitment, and if it doesn't happen in 5 years, I'm going to be, oh my God, I'm not accomplishing my dreams, But, my dreams are like very simple and straightforward. I just want to make films. That's all, I make films that are like, because, like you guys, like, films can change your life, actually, literally.
Absolutely.
There are some films that you remember in your life that they were like changing you as a human being, and I want to do that with other people. I want to tell stories that can really move people and change people's lives. It sounds a little bit like naive or like whatever, but I believe that, actually. I believe that.
Me too, Javier.
The films
Me too.
Improve the quality of your life, and sometimes I think like, oh my God, we're doing films and there are people like curing cancer around the world, so you think that your profession is like, it's not that important, we're just entertaining people. But if you think about it, there wouldn't be films in life or music or art in general. I mean, it wouldn't be worth it to live almost, it would be so boring that
it would.
That is almost as important as the health and as important as building like buildings or, so I try to remind me that sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good message to end on. So thank you once again. Where can people find you, Javier, and follow what your career and anything that you're working on?
Yeah, I have Instagram. I had a hard time to get into Instagram world because I don't like it.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a very, very narcissistic and egocentric thing because you only can take pictures of yourself or whatever. But I'm trying to right now. My Instagram is Javier Dampierre. Is just my name.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then I have Facebook as well. That is Javier Dampierre as well. And then I have a website, which is javierdampierre as well, .com.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm trying to keep up, like, to really do things in Instagram, even though I don't like it. But a lot of people have told me, like, listen, you have to do it. If you're a director, you need to post things, and you need to talk about yourself, and you need to do selfish to yourself. And, so I went, okay, I'm going to do it. But I don't really like that, to be honest. But, so maybe I will do something later for this interview with a hashtag or a white Year Film Festival or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, good luck with all of that. Really, thank you so much for talking to us. What we'll do is we'll stop the recording now and we can say goodbye. But thank you once again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that interview. Watching back, just some really good stuff. And Javier is obviously an experienced guy. He's done things, but there's obviously things which surprised him in this. And really enjoyed watching that. It's always great hearing the thought processes behind certain decisions, so I really love that. Yeah.
And that's why we do it.
Well, exactly.
Just
to
get an insight into behind the scenes of the film, the filmmaker's decisions and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you do have any questions about general filmmaking or anything really, just get in touch with us. You can actually record a question. You can download the Anchor app on your phone and record a question and send it in to us, and we'll do our best to answer, or get one of our guests to answer as well. So you can, that's on the Anchor app that you can download.
Yeah, exactly. And that would be great, actually. And it doesn't matter whether you're into filmmaking just as a general hobby, whether you are a filmmaker, whether you have no interest but you're listening to the podcast. I mean, great, that's fantastic. But yeah, anything at all that you want to ask, we'll do our best to do that. And yeah, we'd love to hear what people are thinking, what topics they'd like to get covered. So, as promised, we'll do the code now. And if we just flip over, what is it? What is the code this today? Okay, right, so get ready for this. Have you got your pens and your paper? We have, okay, right. So the code for this week for 10% off any submission is WDPODJD196. One more time, WDPODJD196. So remember, that can be used once per user. It gives you 10% off, and that runs until the next podcast release. So that should be February the 14th.
For a whole week.
For that whole week, so you can use it anytime during that period.
And that's the first 50 people to use it.
Exactly. So there's a bit of a race, so do be quick. But yes, hopefully see more submissions from you guys. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you want to get notifications of any new podcasts, make sure to hit the bell and all that stuff. Everyone's used to this by now, but make sure to follow us. And of course, you can give us questions and anything on there as well, which we'll really try and make sure that we answer. But yeah, great interview again.
Well done.
You just go back on the wire. Cheers, guys.
For the next ones, I'm back on the wire. I've been banished.
You've been banished. Although you feature in, is it next week's?
Yeah.
Well,
we've teased too much now.
Oh, yeah, but stay tuned for Adam's journey into interviewing.
Yep.
Crikey. Maybe skip next week, everyone, but
there's it's a good one though.
It is a very good one.
If you can put up with me in it, it's quite a good. We've got a great guest.
We have got a very good guest. It's Jonathan. Anyway, we'll get into that. But he's a composer, so he talks magnificently about things that we know very little about.
And it's a first for the podcast as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Tune in next time.
It'll be exciting. Yeah. Okay. Bye.